Alan Sakyan. As you can see here, this talk is titled IQ and EQ, Becoming a Polymath and Empath. Holy cow, it sounds like a bunch of... All right. I'll be walking around a lot, and this will be interactive, so it will be important for you guys to raise your hands, talk to me, engage, stand up, do some jumping jacks. This isn't gonna be boring. Can I get a hip hip? Hooray! That was pretty good. All right, we will not be boring. Boring talks are not fun. All right, are these words familiar to anyone? Polymath, empath, familiar words, yeah? All right, let's take a little, raise your hand. Give me something that reminds you of the word polymath. All right.
Alexander Hamilton.
Okay, a figure, yes, Alexander Hamilton. Back in the day when there was less access to social media and technology and smartphones, there was more time to read books, more time to just think. All right, how about the word empath? Any hands? Words that come to mind. All right, we have two, hold on.
Star Trek.
And why Star Trek?
You've got empaths, people who read other people's minds.
Very good, yes. All right.
Feelings.
Very good, yes, feelings. So, good job. These are all excellent, and you are absolutely in the right place. All right. So feelings, being able to read people's minds, being tuned into people's emotions and their emotional states, also knowing a lot about a lot of different things. So how do we aspire to become something like that? And hey, everybody that just came in, come on in, come grab a sheet up here, and grab one of the takeaways. Feel free to write on it. All right, so what the hell are these images? And what do they mean? All right, let's see if we can get an answer. What is this image? Let's say it out loud together. I heard black hole, I heard evolution of the Earth. Was that what I heard? Universe, yes. So the evolution of the universe. Okay, so why is that important to understand? So when we get a real grasp on cosmology and the sheer scale of everything that is in existence, it gives us a better understanding of how infinitesimal our lives are. And so now this isn't meant to be, oh God, everybody's just a grain of sand, but really it's important for us to both be on the ego side of things and finding value for ourselves, but also being ego-less and understanding that if this is the sheer magnitude of the cosmos, then my little 100 years here is not that important to be stressing in traffic or to be yelling at other people when a part is missing from my robot. Am I right? All right. Next, what is this? Evolution. So what does that further give us in understanding? We go from understanding cosmology to understanding where we are on the evolutionary timeline. And this human development, is this still on?
Yes, you're good.
It is? You just turned down? Okay, cool. Everyone in the back can still hear? All right, good. So this is about 6 million or so years, plus or minus, 1 year or two, of evolution. And as we've evolved, so has the biology, the plants and the animals on this planet, and the entirety of the whole biosphere together with us. And as you can see here, our human brain has also slowly been evolving with us, from being more primordial and needing to spend the entire day chewing food, to now we have drones delivering our food through Amazon Fresh. It's Crazy. Now, so far we're slowly gaining an understanding, right? We have our history slowly being understood. Now, what is this? What are these people here doing? They're in a village, but what is the key takeaway from here?
Agriculture.
There it is, agriculture. That was great. Several people said it together. So, hunting and gathering, not that much anymore. Agriculture now. Figuring out that we can live in smaller sized villages and tribes that are actually starting to gain a good amount of population that are living there, and then just planting and harvesting the food to stay put in that area. So agriculture was a huge point of development for civilization approximately 10,000 years ago, plus or minus 1 or 2 years. All right, that is a joke. You guys don't. All right. Moving onward. So now we have, all right, history and humanity. And now we have the evolution of modern day cities. Does anyone know what city this is?
Shanghai.
That's very close. Yes, Hong Kong, good answer. And right here we're looking from Victoria's Peak in Hong Kong, and this is about 8 million or so people just stacked on top of each other in apartments and condos. So as we've migrated civilization away from here and developed it into this, we now have completely new problems to solve. A lot of the kids that are forming into young adults here today are exploring unique opportunities in the fields of STEAM that are now going to impact the way that these buildings are constructed. None of these buildings were built with energy efficiency in mind. None of them. Where are the rooftop gardens? Where are the zero waste systems, the compostable everythings? Why are they not present here? And these are the future innovations that we all have the potential to be able to bring to the world. Hindsight's always 20/20, and so we look back and we think, oh, how did we not think about that earlier? All right. Let's keep engaging. So, what is this? What's the next photo? ISS, the International Space Station. Okay, who likes space? Raise your hand. Yes, that's a good amount of hands. Who wants to innovate in space in the future? That's a really good amount of hands. All right, let's hear from a few people. What do you want to do in space?
Innovation is essential, because otherwise, how does it make sense economically?
Yes, all right. What do you want to do in space?
See if there's any life out there.
Yes, who wants to see if there's any life out there? Yes, it's crucial. It's crucial to know that we are not the only civilization that's bloomed on this wet rock, that there are other civilizations. And there are so many tests that we're now doing on the International Space Station in zero gravity. This orbits the Earth every 90 seconds. It orbits the Earth. And it's about 250 miles up in zero gravity orbiting, in constant zero gravity orbiting. So a lot of these numbers that I'm saying right now have literally just been memorized. It's just me having a better understanding of how it works, and then just memorizing the numbers and saying them over and over again, more and more often to people. International Space Station, 250 miles up, orbits the Earth every 90 seconds. And the more that we say that, my bad, 90 minutes. You guys even catch me there. Perfect, thank you. Exactly. And that's seriously, no, I don't know so much. And that's why I'm here learning from you guys learning from the small amount of knowledge that I've obtained, and then we can share this with the world. 90 minutes, exactly. Thank you for fixing that. We don't want to go around spreading fake news, right? All right. So, and lastly, we have the proliferation of new technologies across the planet. And those new technologies are what you guys are in right now, robotics, of booming technology. And that's everything from what we used to see in like Roombas to now we see the autonomous vehicles, and furthermore, androids, and the potential to completely wipe out all service industry jobs, all jobs that are repetitive completely. It's approximately 40% of jobs by 2030 in the United States have the potential to be completely eliminated with automation. So, what did we just cover? And it's on the sheets again, the topics: history, humanity, technology, futurism. Do you guys have any words? I mean, I literally threw these together today. Does anyone have another word that they think fits right there in this idea of polymath? Just say it. Change. That's a good word. Other words? Continuum. Another great word.
Mankind.
Mankind. Evolution. Ethics. That's so good. Great words. So, yes, ethics is a huge word in here, and there's no place where humans have decided to philosophize as a species together. 7.5 billion people who just randomly agreed to say, "Thou shalt not kill." I mean, that's a pretty easy one, right? Right? Right. Yeah. So we. What?
Not for some folks.
Not for some folks. We're working on it. So let's move on through. That was a very basic rundown on kind of some of those things. So this is a slide that a neuroscientist in the Bay Area. So I live in San Francisco, California. I've been out there for 5 years now. I'm hosting a science comedy show, working in augmented reality, helping with FIRST Robotics. And this is one of the slides that a neuroscientist, David Eagleman, does in his presentations. I really love it. As we can see here, we have the cosmos on the macro scale, and we have DNA on the micro scale. And these are both just completely invisible to us, basically. Right now, we're stuck inside of a building. We don't even know where the Milky Way is right now. All around us, but way outside this building, we can't even see it. Now, DNA as well. It's everything in us and around us, but we don't see it. We're stuck in this sliver of existence. This one sliver, you and I, communicating right now, eye contact, smiling, being enthusiastic. These traits and the intelligences that we're communicating is the extent of our perception. And so when we extend our perception outside of this human line, and we go to the micro levels where we see DNA and we see the impact that even some tweaks in DNA or molecules can have, or we understand that water's 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, that it gives us more unique insights into existence. Same thing with the cosmos, like we showed in the Big Bang slide. Very similarly, when we get to understand that our solar system's one of billions of solar systems, and that have floating rocks that are wet, that have spawned life, which we obviously don't know as fact, but it's just a hypothesis, that then it eliminates a lot of our ego. Do you guys think this is an interesting slide? Yeah, it's like we're stuck at this perception level. We need to stretch our minds up and down out of this small perception level. Here's another slide that really illustrates it well, the electromagnetic spectrum. We can only see between 400 and 700 nanometers on the electromagnetic spectrum. We can't see anything else. And that again blows my mind. There are other animals that see on both sides of the spectrum outside of what we see as visible light. And I wonder how we can augment our future to be able to see outside of the spectrum. And these are tools and strategies that you guys will be creating in the future that will enable us to do that. And what kind of feats of intelligence will it lead us to in the future when we do? So just to go over these a little quickly, because I want to engage in the second half of the presentation more. Again, the top-down idea of cosmology and what it gives us when we look at one of these tiny little dots over here, and that's a galaxy, and then even tinier on one of those dots inside the galaxy is this, our solar system, just perfectly nested in this. This is not to scale, obviously, not to scale. Perfectly nested right here. What is this zone called? Goldilocks Zone, yes. So who said that? Raise your hand. Nice. Good. Yes, kudos. Good job. So, in my science comedy show, we yell, Eureka! When they get the question right. And you'd get a fun prize. Your fun prize is a handout today. Sorry. So it's called the Goldilocks Zone. It's also known as the habitable zone. So there's many planets that are locked in this habitable zone around stars. And who knows the moon of Saturn that has geysers on it that are shooting water? What is it called? Enceladus? Yeah? Yeah, raise your hand. Eureka. Nice. Good answer. So we hope to do things like send spacecraft from Earth around Enceladus, snag those biomarkers, bring them back home, measure them, and find some sort of life on another planet. It just always blows my mind how vast it is. Do you guys lay out and look at the stars at night?
Not many to look at.
We have not many to look at.
Light pollution.
There is a lot of light pollution, yes. So have you considered making it a habit to go out of this light pollution, to go look maybe once a month?
Not before. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, maybe in the future. And could you guys maybe promise yourselves and promise your parents and friends? It's really easy when you have somebody to be accountable with, right? And if we say, hey, let's go out and go look at under the stars away from light pollution next week, and then you go and follow through on that, when you lay out there, you guys know what that feeling is. It's profoundly overwhelming how many little tiny dots of light there are. All right. This is one of my favorite slides. Why is this so important? Because likely there was a dinosaur battle happening right here 65 million years ago. It is very, very possible that there was. And a lot of children are very fascinated with dinosaurs because it's very tough to wrap your mind around, holy cow, that actually that did exist here, and I've never had the opportunity to be able to witness it or touch it, but I'd love to. And it could inspire me in so many ways. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, dinosaurs. And the evolution of the human brain, along with the evolution of the human, has given us this prefrontal cortex that gave us the ability to do things like comprehend what I'm saying right now. These words coming out of my mouth, these vibrations and language, firing neurons in your minds, creating some sort of thoughts in your minds that are then being locked in your working memory. And if you find them entertaining enough or knowledgeable enough, you can lock them in yours. Like, for example, when I said 90 seconds to ISS, and you were like, no, 90 minutes. And I'm like, that's right, 90 minutes. And so, again, that's refiring again in my mind, rewiring, and I'm able to remember it better. So this gives us the ability to do many things, art, language. It gives us the ability to do music. And so a lot of people forget the A in STEAM. But I lock the A in there because it's a crucial part. All the videos, all the marketing campaigns, all the storytelling that you're doing is all art. So remember to keep it in there and remember to refire those neurons up here in the art. So agriculture leading us up to where we are. In cities that need a lot of work in order to provide sustainable sources of energy for humanity. Awesome things like space, the Kepler Space Telescope, the International Space Station, Cassini orbiting Saturn, mapping it. And now, the smartphone era. So who thinks a smartphone is a great tool? Raise your hand. It absolutely is. I totally agree with you. Now raise your hand if you also think it's a huge distraction. All right, equal amount of hands. I love it. So the smartphone is definitely both. It gives us instant access to the vast knowledge, which is Wikipedia and news sources and our music, our calendars, our photos, our everything, our texting, our calling each other across the world is great. The problem is it gives us a draw to our short-term satisfaction. We have short-term dopamine rewards that overflow and overset our long-term reward structures that cause us to not achieve our objectives and goals. How many times were you in the middle of a work proposal? How many times were you in the middle of a project? How many times were you in the middle of working on your robot when you got a text message or an email or a phone call or something that disrupted you? Does that happen all the time? All right. So it's up to us to be able to set our limits with our phones and say, this is time for me to set my long-term goals versus time for me to go text message, text message, text message, text message, finish, exhaust that, and go on to something else. So setting these goals to do that is crucial for our long-term memory and for our development of ourselves. This is a neuroscientist. His name's Adam Gazzelli, again in San Francisco. And this is EEG, which is an electrode cap on the brain to be able to sense neural activity and the directions of it at the slightest nuances. And what's happening here is this is a game that's being played. So on these smartphones, on these PlayStations, Xboxes, computers, we have tons and tons of video games that are being played. One of the ways that I think video games that are now being proven through trials through the FDA is the potential for offsetting the declination of cognitive control mechanisms. So we're saying things like working memory and things like attention and focus degrade over time. So cognition on a graph, if this is 0 and this is 80, and cognition increases on this axis. As you age, your cognition peaks at about 23. After 23, your cognition will slowly decrease through the rest of your life. Who here's over 23? Raise your hand. All right, we're through. We're only on the way down, moving on. So the way to slow down that offset is by doing things like this. In this game, Neuro Racer, it's hard to see here, but you're driving a car on a windy road, and you're trying to not crash it while simultaneously above the car appears different shapes in different colors. And you're supposed to only press X when it's a green circle, but they'll throw you off with a green square every once in a while and a red circle, and you're still having to drive at the same time. So as you can see, this game works on your task switching, and then it increases your cognitive control mechanisms. And they've actually been able to prove in trials that it helps kids with ADHD, and we're looking to move forward with this. So these are some of the cool futuristic technologies that are also happening in San Francisco. Who's heard of CRISPR? Yes, very cool. So being able to edit our genomes and genetically engineer different species or change what's happening within ourselves is crucial. Who here's had a child that has had some sort of disease? Yeah, and it's no joke. It's no joke when your child could potentially be cured by technology rather than die at a young age. And that's, again, a very empathic thing to feel for somebody else, being able to really get behind their eyes and see, holy cow, if that was my child, I would want the best technology for them to help them so that they ended up living a healthy and happy life as long as possible. And so we see a lot of eradication of disease. We see a lot of new ideas about things like designer babies coming out, like what happens with wealth inequality if somebody can make metabolism edits or intelligence edits for a few $100,000 to their baby. Then what happens? So these are all hypothetical. We had somebody in the back say ethics earlier. This is a very ethical conversation to have with our peers around us, a very philosophical conversation to have around us with our friends. What do we do when we start editing the genome? What do we do when we bring back life from another planet to Earth? These are all philosophical conversations to have with one another. And as we move on, this is inevitable. The automation's absolutely inevitable, and you guys are a big part of that process and of the proliferation of that across the world. So who are some of the most prolific polymaths that I can think of? And you guys can definitely name a bunch more. Anyone know who this is? I heard Socrates, very close. Archimedes, also very close. This is Plato. Very, very close. I was just reading that Plato was a mentee of Socrates. And then so Plato, Socrates, and then under Plato was Aristotle. So that's kind of like how those three work together and learn. But this was, yes?
That's a part of the bigger picture with Plato and
Aristotle are together.
one is going up and one is going down because they're arguing where the specifics are.
Yes, so this isn't in this picture, on the non-crop picture, Aristotle is walking right here, and they are walking together, having a conversation. And why is Plato such a polymath? Well, he was kind of a big deal for Western philosophy and philosophication of just pure conversation around things like, okay, I'm born to my father and my mother. Well, do my father and mother then inherently just want the best for me? And so just starting these conversations with other people around us to just plant seeds in our minds. Of course my mom and dad want the best for me. And what does that mean for other people in their lives, like the cousins of mine, and what about the random people on the streets? Why aren't they my brothers and sisters? Who's this? Hint, founding father. One more time? Benjamin Franklin. Who said that? Raise your hand. Yeah, Eureka, good job. Good job, great answer. So Benjamin Franklin, and so there's this group that he had called the Junto. And so this is something that I really recommend everybody to try and do. Get together with other smart people and organize sessions with people that are smarter than you, people that are your mentors, and sit down at a table like this and talk about some of the creative problems that you're having. This is what I'm trying to build into the world. These are some of the problems I'm having. What are some of the ones that you're having? Tell me about it. Let's help problem solve what's going on in your life. Let's problem solve what's going on in my life. Furthermore, how about something that you've learned recently? What is something profound that you've learned? Share that with me. I'll share something profound that I've learned with you. And do these little circles, these little trainings of the mind, and we'll learn that over time we end up becoming much more well-rounded, more knowledgeable people. And lastly, of course, who's this? Elon Musk. And my apologies in advance, I only found white men. There are plenty of female polymaths as well as colored people of color that are polymaths. Not studied enough by me, obviously, but Elon Musk, very multidisciplinary. We have the energy sector, we have the space sector, we have the transportation sector, all things that the person is very focused on, and the math and physics behind it all is very in tune with. Again, surrounding himself with very smart people. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, some of the polymath that I wanted to touch on. And do you guys feel like the polymath resonated with you? Yeah? Okay, cool, sort of? Some things, okay. All right. All right, let's get another cheer. Ready? Hip, hip. Hooray! All right. Okay, trying to make sure that we're not falling asleep. I'm trying to not be boring. It's hard to not be boring when you're presenting. I have some things here that relate to the word empath that I want to share, and hopefully these will, and some of the activities we'll do about them will catalyze some sort of better understanding for you. This is related to the word sonder for me. This one's related to the word inward, and this one's to submarine. And then this is kind of what happens eventually down the line once one tunes in more. So let's, and tunes out more. So let's talk about these really quick. So every single one of these humans here, every single one of them has different family, different friends, different workers that they work with, different team members on their teams, different cousins and family members. I mean, the list goes on and on. Different people are influencing their lives. And every single one of those people's lives is just as profound and vivid and complex as you and me. And so when we really tune into this bigger picture and we see like thousands of people's lives as vivid and complex as our own, it gives us a better understanding of just the sheer amount of wisdom that every person's carrying in different relationships that they're carrying and they're connected to. Has anybody walked down and like looked at other people in this room? Like just like take a look at somebody else in this room really quick and really look at them and see that they have so much different wisdom and connections. You guys feel that? Are we on talking terms? Yes?
Yeah.
All right, good. So this is just one thing that I promise you. You're like, why the hell is there a picture of a kid making his bed in your slide deck? And I'll tell you why. The one thing that you can do every single morning that I promise will catalyze a successful day for you is to make your freaking bed. Now, why? Why would making your bed catalyze your success? Why? Yeah?
Start off being productive and accomplishing something.
Exactly. Precisely. This is one small goal. The smallest goal of the day. Make your stupid bed. Make it in the morning. Takes 1 minute to make your bed. And guess what? You start your day off strong, completing a task and then moving on to the next thing. All right. So here's a little bit of tuning inward that I want to just touch base on. Who here practices mindfulness or meditation? Yes, that's a very good. Let's actually maybe like 1/5 amount of hands. So, mindfulness is even as simple as right here. You're just sitting in nature, and right now we're intaking all of this visual stimuli right now. You, me, this room, our thoughts about robotics, our thoughts about this weekend, who we're going to hang out with tonight, what we're going to eat for dinner. And really, practicing mindfulness can be as simple as, now everybody, I want us to do this exercise together. Just close your eyes, and I'll keep track of the time. And I want us to just focus on our respiration. Just take a few deep inhales and exhales, and I'll watch the time, okay? Together. All right. And how did it feel to close our eyes for a little while and just focus on our breath? Relaxing. And this feeling can be achieved anywhere. Can it be achieved anytime? Shutting off the external stimuli that we get from our vision and just focusing on our breath for short amounts of time. Doing that when we wake up in the morning is really important for our health. Stretching. A lot of the kids that I see running around in robotics are definitely working their butts off intellectually with their minds. And I always wonder how many of them stretch in the mornings or go and exercise a little bit in the evenings. And the effects that this has on our cognition are tremendous. As in, you wake up in the morning, you do a few jumping jacks, do a little shadow boxing thing, and just for 30 or 60 seconds, you're moving into the day working a lot better. Then you increase blood flow in your body. And so doing even a simple amount of exercise can be really crucial for waking up in the morning. Okay, a few more things about waking up in the morning that I want to touch on. The body is, who's woken up in the morning with a kind of like a sore throat? Like a dry throat, right? And so something that I found that really heals fast is just doing some tea. A little bit of tea in the morning. and a little bit with hot water, and it's so soothing to move on to the rest of the day. This is a little journal that I do in the mornings. I would recommend it's very simple things like ideas that you have, or things that you're grateful for. Just write down some of your dreams from the night before. Build a sun on Earth. Okay, good luck with that, Alan. But why that, you know? We want to replicate the potential process of nuclear energy here on Earth in a very safe and controlled environment. And this is my gratitude for flying. I love airplanes. Airplanes are incredible feats of human achievement, and more often than not, we just very quickly toss them away like a coffee cup. All the engineering and all the work. We just flew here to Houston, but we forgot to be grateful for being thrown in a steel cylinder across the country in 4 hours. And it used to take months on horse or walking. All right. Who here thinks they can wake up in the morning and express some gratitude? Raise your hand. And it's so simple. It's so simple. Let's do another quick activity on gratitude. Look around the room and pick 2 people. Just pick 2 people with your thoughts, and then tune back in up here. So now you've picked those 2 people, and let's close our eyes, and we're just going to think. We're not going to say any words. We're just going to think, I wish that person happiness. I wish that person happiness, and then do it for the other person. So do it a few times with your eyes closed. All right. Who feels happier? Okay, good. So at least even a few of us. So so this was told to a friend that went and did this every day. So somebody continued doing this every single day for a few minutes per day. And a week later, they contacted the meditator that taught me this, and they said that I hate my job, I hate my work, I hate my boss, but I've been the happiest now that I've been in the last 7 years of my life. And the person said they just did it every day for a minute, every day for a little over a week. So we're talking just 10 minutes of time can make somebody the happiest they've ever been in 7 years, just by wishing other people happiness. All right, let me get to this analogy, and let's check on time. All right, so I want to save some time for interacting and questions at the end. Let's get this analogy. So why the hell do I have a submarine here? Why is submarine important for building relationships with people? All right, let's think about it this way. So at the submarines, at the top level of the ocean, we have where, this is called the surface level. Let's imagine this is surface level conversations that are happening. And every time we go deep with people, we go down into the ocean. We're taking it downward, down a few levels. So surface level conversation are things like about weather and about sports and about how are yous, that kind of stuff, really fast stuff. And that's no problem. That happens a lot, especially in quick interactions. But when we want to get deep with somebody, we have a one-on-one with somebody for a short period of time, or when we are trying to loop back into a family member, how they're doing, or try to understand our boss better, or our coworker better, or our sister better, whoever it is, that we go deeper with them. So the questions that we ask, the interest that we show, this genuine care that we express to the other person brings us deeper and deeper into their lives, down further and further into the ocean where there's not as much light anymore. There's more and more darkness. It's harder and harder to survive down there because of water pressure too. The submarine, as it goes down, let's say the ocean floor is 100 levels down. Well, as you go down to level 5 with somebody, you might, level 10, you might get a few bumps on the submarine along the way. And what happens is these little breaks in pressure, which can be, you falling on your face or you failing at something, which we fail all the time. I even failed in this presentation with not knowing 90 seconds versus 90 minutes. And see, I'm perfectly fine with embodying that failure and telling myself, I'll get it next time, I'll do better, that when it comes down to level 10, that there'll be a little break, we come back up to the surface level and we patch that submarine back up. And then we bring it down further. We bring it down further to level 20, to level 50, and we get better and better at having deep conversations with people by asking people questions. So why is this next slide, do I have a microphone and I'm asking this woman questions in San Francisco? I did a project called Practice Happy about 3 years ago where I'd go in the streets and ask random people thought-provoking questions. What makes you happy? What was the last thing you did that scared you? What impact do you want to make in the universe? And I'd ask random people on the streets these questions. And as you know, you walk up to a random person and ask them, hey, can I ask you some questions? They're like, get the hell away from me, right? And you gotta just keep going. Just keep that smile on the face, no problem, I totally understand. And then you end up finding people that are like, sure, yeah, I'll answer your questions on camera. And then they give you some profound pieces of wisdom and you share them online. And this really breaks you outside of your comfort zone. That's the thing. I'm not a good public speaker. I'm not a good MC. I'm not a good person to do any of these things. I've just slowly gotten better and better at them, and I still have so many things that I fail at. Anybody can do this. We all have it in us to be able to do anything we set our minds to. And another way to express empathy, this is my friend Ishmael, I have no idea what the hell this means. What does Black Lives Matter actually mean? So what you do is you go and you ask him. And you talk to him about it, and you learn from him about what it means to him. And you try and empathize behind his eyes of what his life has been like leading up to the point of why he's saying that. And again, our understanding of history also helps us with this. All right, can I have a volunteer? Who here likes to give hugs? All right, let's have a hug. And so why do you express such loving care for somebody else when you hug them?
I think it's important that we all know what it feels like to be alone and that we tell each other that we're not alone in the world.
Yes. And the hug is almost a reassuring sense of even for somebody that I don't know well, a long hug can be so warming and so comforting in this world. And I really recommend long, big hugs and becoming more and more comfortable with them. This slide is really just about mentorship. This is, ooh, that got loud really fast. No, it's all good. This is Seth Shostak. He's a senior astronomer at SETI. He's been on my show a few times. I'm telling you guys, surround yourself with really smart people. They know so much more than you do, and if you learn how to ask them the right questions about how they program, or about how they talk to people, or about how they execute their ideas, and just ask them questions about it, and learn from them, you will become smarter. Have those little junto roundtable sessions like Ben Franklin did. These are some photos of me being really uncomfortable. That's literally what this is. This is me being uncomfortable being interviewed. This is me being uncomfortable emceeing. And I mean, I'm still uncomfortable right now. I'm much more in flow than I was before. I've gotten better and better at this feeling. But it takes time and it takes practice of, falling on your face a lot until you get more and more comfortable with it. And this is a photo from just like a few weeks ago at FTC West. This is me dancing to the Macarena. And that's me being in more flow, like being totally comfortable with dancing in front of people. So dancing and singing and playing and the sheer importance of that. So in summary, without looking at your sheets, don't look at them. What are the 4 words? Okay, history. What's the second word? Humanity. What's the third? Technology. And fourth? Futurism. Awesome. History, humanity, technology, futurism. To better understand where we came from, where we are, how we got here, and where we're going in the future. What about the 3 words for empathy? Sonder, inward, submarine. Awesome. So, sonder, inward, submarine. Again, knowing everybody's life is as vivid and complex as our own, being able to tune inward through these daily morning routines and practices, building habits, and then going down deep with people. Practicing that analogy, being in a submarine, going deep. What are you passionate about? What do you care about? Let me see if I can help you with your dreams and your ambitions. And express that sort of loving kindness for your family. I want you to be happy. I send you that love. And in terms of being oriented towards wanting to execute what's on your mind and bringing it to the world, find something of value in your ideas, in those passions that you have. Strategize how to build that into the world, and then execute it. And work with other people that have before. And let's see if, you can always feel free to be in touch with me about this as well. I hope that this resonated with you, and I'd like to open up the floor for any questions that you guys have. Thank you. All right, I'll bring the mic out if you guys have any questions. Would love to answer. All right.
If you could wake up every day to one phrase and think about it for the rest of the day, what would you want that phrase to be?
It's a very good question. The question was if you could wake up to one phrase every day forever, what would that phrase be? Okay, for how long?
Just as long as you need to know the phrase.
Oh, as long as I need to know the phrase. Okay. So as long as it would become a habit, until it would become a habit. The word or the phrase that I would use would be gratitude, and I really think that makes some crazy changes within the human body and within the human mind, because we live here in the United States. In the United States, in the year 2017, we have abundance in pretty much everything. Is there anything that we don't have abundance in? Patience, stability. I forgot I'm dealing with a room of other smart people. This is good. This is very funny. Very true in some cases, but the reality is that we don't live in Swaziland. The life expectancy there is 30. We live somewhere where the life expectancy is 80. We have ubiquity in food. It's everywhere. Energy's everywhere. We have roofs on our head, food on our table, loving family that cares about us. And if we wake up every morning and just say that I'm alive, and it feels great to be alive. I have food in my fridge. It feels great to have food in my fridge, roof over my head, family that loves me, and do that every single morning, and make your bed. I think it will definitely shift the way that we feel throughout the rest of the day and throughout our lives. Question? Yep.
So you said in the morning you should always make your bed. What's something you should always do in the evening to end your day?
Great question, thank you. So I've been a big proponent of not using smartphones before when I wake up and when I go to bed. And besides the whole blue light thing inhibiting the production of melatonin for you to be able to fall asleep, there's other effects. And so so in the morning, that list of things to do to get yourself going in the day, that only takes like 10 minutes or so to do it all. It doesn't take that long, and you don't even have to do all 5 of them, just do 2 of them, and you'll feel much more productive during the day. In the evenings, unwinding is really important without technology. So doing things like if you have access to nature, if you have access to hearing some birds or smelling some flowers or some trees or looking up at a few stars at night, that's really crucial. Reading a book is great. Writing in a journal is great. Writing down your thoughts from the day. I did this well. It's like affirmation. I made a new friend, or I helped this person, or I achieved this objective. And it's a further value and affirmation to yourself, just doodling, that kind of stuff. Do you have something that you like to do at night?
I do enjoy reading, whether it's just a piece of fiction or something about a topic that I really enjoy, but it is hard for me to pull myself away from my laptop or from my phone. I also enjoy, in the evening, doing some meditation. I often feel, I used to feel it more, but almost an affinity for night. It's really when my mind calmed down and I was able to just really look at myself. And if I was feeling troubled, think, why am I unhappy? And just really see things for how they were. When a lot of the stuff during the day, all of your stress and all of your activity sort of blocks that, muddles your view.
Got it. Yeah. And awesome reading and meditation, great things. And to touch one more point on the nighttime meditation, the nighttime amount of energy that's just not happening. When the whole half of the earth falls asleep at night, when it's like between the hours of like 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., like the whole half of the earth is literally asleep pretty much. No buses, no cars, no packages moving around, no business, financial transactions happening. It's really easy for you to just focus. Whether it's to focus from 2 to 3 on writing your book or doing your proposal for work, and then from 3:30 to 4, just relaxing, focusing inward and meditating. It's a really beautiful time of night. Anyone night owl here? Raise your hand. Yeah, it's good. It's good to have a little balance of both every once in a while. There was another question, right? Yeah.
If you could live in one place for a year, where would you live and why?
Yeah, fantastic question. It's really difficult to pick one place. Really difficult. Can I ask you what your place is first?
I would probably want to live in probably somewhere on an island kind of near the beach and stuff, because I really like sitting in the sand next to the ocean. It really helps me calm down.
It's really cool. We're on the exact same wavelength. So my spot is Bora Bora. An island located somewhere to the northeast of New Zealand, and no light pollution, crystal clear blue waters, crystal clear white sands. Yeah, and it definitely helps calm down for a whole year. Wow. And think about all the cool ways that you could express the inventory of your mind that you've lived in the U.S. and bring it out somewhere else. Great question. Yeah.
Okay, Alan, this is about you. Is there a time in your life when you couldn't have done a presentation like this, and what changed you to bring you today?
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that question. Let's see if I can think of a way to answer that. So, I used to be very, very overweight in my life, and that caused me to be very self-conscious of myself, and I didn't think that girls liked me. I didn't think that I could achieve any goals that I set for myself, and a lot of kids in school were picking on me, right? Jelly belly, fat kid, yada yada. I'm sure it happens to every kid. Even still today, it happens to kids. And I'm very hairy too. Look, I'm pretty hairy. I'm pretty hairy. And so because I'm so hairy, a lot of kids would make fun of me for being hairy too. And so the whole idea of being able to embody the change that I wanted to see in myself, and also I wanted to live longer. So that's why I became healthier, and I wanted to feel more confident, and I wanted to feel like more people liked me because I was able to be liked more and live longer in that sense. So lost some weight, and then the other thing was literally the hair. I stopped feeling self-conscious about it, and I started telling people that I am the reason why you can believe in evolution. Like, I am a monkey. And now I've literally embodied that, and I tell people that all the time. They're like, "You're so hairy." I'm like, "Yep, we definitely came from monkeys," and so doing things like that have helped me to be able to do that. Definitely couldn't have done presentations like this or spoken in front of hundreds or thousands of people. Definitely not in the past. It takes lots of times of falling on your face. It doesn't hurt that bad. It doesn't hurt that bad to fall on your face. Because once you fall, you know to not repeat the same mistake again. And you get better and better at it. And if you can even surround yourself with a mentor that will help you better understand how to not fall on your face, so you don't even have to do it in the first place, even better. So that would be the answer to that. Thank you. Thanks for sticking around, everyone.
Okay, so I have one thing to say to you about making your bed. And you're right, in the morning, it's one way to basically feel accomplished. But I heard from your neighbor, Tim Ferriss, who you might know. Some of you folks may not know who he is, but anyway, he does this podcast, and he was talking to somebody, and they were talking about how to get your mind at ease at night. And one of the ways was to actually have your bed made, because then it kind of helps you start putting things away. If your mind is busy and you're restless and you're having trouble sleeping because you can't put everything away, when you come to your bedroom and you come to your bed and it's made, it kind of already starts you kind of in the mode of, let's put all these thoughts and ideas up on the shelves away for tonight so I can get to them again tomorrow. There you go.
Yes, great comment. I completely agree. The mind it's known as the monkey mind. We've heard of that before, right? And so that monkey mind is now thousands of years old. We've had monks and meditators calling it that, 'cause it's constantly chattering away all the time. And a lot of the things that it chatters about are what's on the to-do list. I have this appointment tomorrow. I have to do this email tonight. I have to do that. I have to do this. And it just runs rampantly, and it doesn't enable us to calm down. And especially when we go to sleep at night, a good way to be able to finally fall asleep is to ease our cognitive capabilities away from all of the crazy to-do list stuff and more onto I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna stretch my body, I'm gonna ease into bed and wake up in the morning and kick ass. All right, yeah.
If there's one last general piece of advice that you could give to everyone here, what would it be?
The last general piece of advice that I'd give is to create more than you consume. And to elaborate a little bit more on it is we typically almost always consume things on a daily basis. And we're not just talking about the content that we receive on our smartphones, but we're also talking about the food that other people make for us. We're talking about the material possessions that we purchase at stores. And a good way to feel like you bring value to the world is to create something that other people find value in. And when we start planting a few plants and watering them and seeing them grow, or when we write an article that we send to friends and they read it, we create it, they consume it, we consume the plants that we grow, it changes the way that we see things. Okay, a really good last example for this is First Robotics. How many people have actually set up and torn down an event before? Yeah. It's a lot of work, right? It's a hell of a lot of work. And what you're doing is you're creating. You're investing a lot of your time and effort into other people having great experiences. And so that would be the last thing to leave people with, is create, and try and create even more than you consume. And I still consume so much all the time, but I definitely aim to create and I try and bring value to other people, and that actually ends up self-actualizing me. That gives me some sort of further boost in my life that I bring people value and they see me for that value. So, great question. Thank you. All right, that's it. I appreciate you guys all so much for coming out. I hope this made some sort of a profound impact on you. If it did, please share it with other people, some of this knowledge. Thanks for being here and for enlightening me with your wisdom as well. Thank you. Huge thank you again, everybody. Thank you.